Hi guys. So today I wanted to talk with you. As soon as I start, my earring gets trapped in my, or my hair gets trapped in my earring. It's incredibly annoying. I know you're like, why does she keep doing that with that plastic on her head? Because it's annoying. It gets into the earrings. It gets into the cubic zirconia. Listen, you guys, just remember how Blake Lively, the wife of Ryan Reynolds, and the actress in It Ends With Us, that movie, It Ends With Us, and she was in a TV film, a Netflix show as well. And I always forget as soon as I start my videos what was the name of it. But if I remember before the video is over, I'll mention it. But so she sued Justin Baldoni, the director and co-star in the movie It Ends With Us. And well, she didn't. Well, let me backtrack a little bit. She filed a complaint in California in the civil, um, like a civil rights complaint in California, because I think that's the procedure in order to bring a sort of workplace discrimination slash sexual harassment type of suit. I believe you first have to file a complaint in in this civil rights department. Don't quote me on that because I'm not absolutely sure, and I'm scrolling down looking for it, but I don't think it says that in the article. So I'm not absolutely sure, but and I yeah, the California Civil Rights Department. So she filed a legal complaint with the California Civil Rights Department against Mr. Baldoni and his business partner, Jamie Heath, and their studio, Wayfarer, and one of its co founders, Steve Sarowitz, and also Ms. Nathan and a communications consultant she brought on, Jed Wallace, and Jennifer Abel, another public relations executive. So Blake basically went to town on everybody and their mother. My earring is going to come out because in 2 seconds I'm going to get so irritated. I'm just going to rep. Okay, let me calm myself. Let me calm myself. So So there was that. So she sued all these people by first filing a complaint in California in the California Civil Rights Department, and then she brings a lawsuit in the Southern District of New York. So she has, in fact, now filed her lawsuit. So it's a two-step process, right? First, you file a complaint with the Civil Rights Department because it's a workplace discrimination kind of a case. And then I believe it's not that they have to give you permission, but in a way, I think they do. And then you move your lawsuit to the court. I think that's how it works. Do correct me if I'm wrong. This isn't my area of expertise. And that's not the point of um, this video. The point is that she sued, she's now brought suit against him. I don't know for how much money, but he has now, Mr. Baldoni, has filed a lawsuit against the New York Times for libel. You guys, libel is defamation in print, right? So he's basically saying that the New York Times published an article that defamed him and his team in an article about Blake's allegations that she had been the victim of a smear campaign. So he's not really suing about the sexual. Am I allowed to say that word on YouTube? I'm now learning that I have to sort of not say words fully on YouTube. Nobody told me that before, right? You need to tell me this kind of stuff, right? So apparently words like I wanted the S word I just said, you have to sort of be careful about it because the algorithms then don't, pick up your video, which might explain why my videos don't get a lot of views over here, among other things. I'm like, is this a targeted hit? Like what's going on here? But so Mr. Baldoni is not admitting or denying in his lawsuit against the New York Times that he did or did not harass Ms. Lively. What he's saying is that the New York Times defamed him by running this article about the smear campaign because it was a two-step process with Blake's complaint. First, she said that she was harassed on the workplace, and then she said she complained about it, and I think it was handled internally. But then when it was time to promote the film, things really just fell apart, and Blake is claiming that Mr. Baldoni hired a PR firm to smear her, right? And I think we saw that at the time of the movie, because I wasn't paying attention to Blake Lively. I mean, I'm not really a fan of hers. I don't follow her. I was very much following Harry and Meghan and, my own little things. But there was such an enormous kerfuffle, how do you say that word? About Blake and the movie and Justin at the time that I took notice of her because I was like, what's going on? There were so many negative stories about her. It's like she was being thrown under a bus. It really was. And I took notice because I take notice of things like that. I don't like pylons. I don't like pylons. I see that in society, people like it. They like to pylon. No one seems to stop to say, wait a second, this is a human person. You can't do this. This is what got me onto Megan's story in the first place. I can't do that. I just can't do it. I need to have a reason that I find personally justifiable to pile on and to jump on the bandwagon and attack another person. And so that was sort of the situation with Blake where I thought, wait, this is a lot. It's really a lot. It's very sudden. Where is it coming from? I didn't think, oh, this is a smear campaign or this is not a smear campaign or anything like that. I just felt like people on social media were being really, really mean to her. And I thought, oh, how unfair, how unkind, how mean. I mean, leave her alone, da da da. You know what I mean? That kind of thing. So, come to find out, she's claiming that there was a smear campaign. And now Mr. Baldoni is saying that this is libelous, what you wrote here, New York Times. And so it says here in the New York Times, I'm reading the New York Times, it says the lawsuit which seeks 250 million American dollars in damages, accuses the Times of uncritically accepting a quote self-serving narrative end quote by the actress that Mr. Baldoni, his production company, and their public relations team worked to harm her reputation after she complained about misconduct during the film's shooting, right? And Mr. Baldoni says that the December 21st article, so this article was published not so long ago, and his lawsuit is already filed, you guys, deliberately omitted portions of text exchanges and other information that contradicted the actress's version of events. Wowza. Well, I think he's taking his cues from Donald Trump, who has recently been suing big media. He sued ABC. He got a $15 million settlement. And he recently sued CNN for $475 million. And that case is still pending. So I think that, big media is in a lot of trouble because people are like fighting back. They are not taking this lying down, and it's left to be seen how this particular case, the Baldoni Blake Lively case, plays out because we do have to wait to hear more facts. I mean, we mostly have Blake's side of the story, and I'm kind of like leaning towards Blake's side of the story, but I do want to hear more about what Mr. Baldoni has to say about what actually happened before I draw my final conclusions, because sometimes, it can look like it's one way, and then once you hear, the other side, you sort of, you change your mind, or you adjust your original conclusions to sort of maybe temper it a little bit or whatever. So I'm not sitting here saying that um, Justin is guilty and Blake is innocent, or Blake is guilty and Justin is innocent, or anything like that. But I am saying that, her complaint and I guess now the lawsuit in New York, in the Southern District, really seems to paint a picture that, I guess we've all heard before, of things that actually happen to people, especially women, in certain situations. So, yeah, it says here that the suit was filed in Los Angeles County Supreme Court by Brian Friedman, an attorney representing Mr. Baldoni, and 5 others. Oh, okay, so his lawsuit is in Los Angeles and Blake's is in New York, which is interesting, including Melissa Nathan, a crisis management expert who I think has a sister who's also in journalism. Do correct me if I'm wrong. And there were some people talking about some connection to Meghan Markle, Duchess of Sussex, and all of the sort of smear campaigns against her. And so I'm not really sure how the dots connect with Melissa Nathan's sister, but apparently there's a sister involved, and there are other allegations of smear campaigns, allegedly. Of course, I'm not asserting any facts here. I'm just saying what is being said out in the streets. What else? So it says here, in a statement, the Times said, "We plan to vigorously defend against this lawsuit." So, they're not going to be like ABC News rolling over to Donald Trump. And the thing is that Trump is very much a singular type of a guy in that sense. I mean, people roll over to Trump, they give him what they want, they give him what he wants. It doesn't mean the same thing is going to work for other people. So we have to wait and see. I mean, the Times says they're going to vigorously defend the lawsuit. It says here the role of an independent news organization is to follow the facts where they lead. The statement said, "Our story was meticulously and responsibly reported. It was based on a review of thousands of pages of original documents, including the text messages and emails that we quote accurately and at length in the article." Wow. So yeah, this is war. This is war. And this is just the beginning. I mean, this is just coming out of the starting block. Both sides have gone to war. As I said, I mean, Blake's story sounds very compelling, but I do want to wait to hear the facts before I draw any final conclusions. And yeah, it says here Miss Lively had complained that the men had repeatedly violated physical boundaries and made and other inappropriate comments to her during the shooting of the film. The studio wayfarer agreed to install safeguards on set, her legal complaint said. In a side letter to Miss Lively's contract signed by Mr. Heath, the studio also agreed not to retaliate against the actress. Wow. It says here the actress in her complaint cited text messages that showed Ms. Nathan pushing to prevent print articles about Mr. Baldoni's behavior from being published and reinforce negative ones about Miss Lively. Sounds familiar? Other texts, she said, including references to Mr. Wallace, a self-described hired gun, quote unquote, leading a digital strategy that included boosting social media posts that could help their cause. It says, for example, one of Miss Nathan's employees wrote in a group text message, quote, "We've started to see shift on social due largely to Jed and his team's efforts to shift the narrative." And that's exactly what they do. And someone has used that same terminology at the Sun, at the UK Sun one time, when the Princess of Wales, that whole whatever that was with the Princess of Wales, and they were like, we have to shift the narrative. And so it's like, when you see these kinds of things happening in media, you have to question, what's really going on here? Is this truth, or is this someone shifting the narrative, changing the narrative to be what they want it to be? How manipulative all of everything is so manipulative and manipulated, so you can't trust anything. I mean, at all, I mean, even I put my black and white so you can't see all my all my imperfections. I manipulate my videos so that, well, I don't think of it as manipulation. I think of it as, I put a filter, black and white, so that it's just less traumatic for the viewer. That's all. It's not like I'm trying to deceive you. I'm trying to spare you the details of my face, right? By putting myself in black and white. Anyway, listen, you guys, that's all for this one. What do you think about this lawsuit, this countersuit by Mr. Baldoni against Blake Lively? Well, it's not against Blake Lively, it's against the New York Times, but essentially and effectively, it's against Blake Lively, because if he wins that suit, it's going to discredit Blake Lively, right? And yeah, I mean, what do you think about it? I mean, whose side are you on? Are you team Blake or team Baldoni? Let me know in the comments. I think this case is going to be very interesting, and it's one that I plan to keep watching as it develops. So that's all for this one. If you're not yet following me on YouTube, it would be lovely to have you follow me. Yeah, so I would love it if you subscribed to the channel, if you were to leave comments that are publishable, if you hit the notification bell, what else would you have to do? If you share the video with your friends, and what else? My plastic is like getting hooked up. My plastic. And if you would come back for new updates. Okay, so that's all for this one. See you in the next one. Take care. Bye.